Some people arrive like a thunderbolt. Well, she certainly did. I remember getting the call. "Is the ad for real?" she asked in her Antipodean accent of the offering for a room to let in a 15th century house. "Yes, of course," I replied, and she arranged to come and see it, moving in not long after. It was like a whirlwind after that. Event followed event until we were dizzy with it all. "When we have finished what others have begun, we will replace it for you," she said of the carpet to the master bedroom, with a mixture of command and pragmatism that astonished us. She with her long flame-coloured hair and eyes of flashing blue. She had a partner with elfin locks who was tall and musical. They made a splash wherever they went. She was starting a course at a nearby college, a new degree in environmental arts. He studied music, and in no time, it seemed to us, a friend of hers also at the college moved in, equally dryad slender in her build and forest sprite clothes, interested in people with the gift of making friends. She too had a partner, of many piercings, who joined the course a year later. As it turned out, he was something of an inventor. The house became filled with life, liveliness, talk, laughter, creative plans and their fellow students. The course was unusual and drew what were called mature students. So, whilst everyone was in reality on the young side, they all had a lot of life experience to bring. Many had lived or still lived in vans of various sizes and states of repair, independent-minded, practical people, as well as artistic, lateral thinking, well-travelled, clever, yet often failed by school. As we got to know them, rather to our surprise, the four of them became our friends. We met their friends and began a new chain of friendships, many of which were to bear fruit and become lasting ones. It was sometimes tempestuous, as a house full of characters would always be, but the lasting impression was of a rosy time. But stormy she and her partnership could be, like when they moved back 2 years later with child in tow. They rowed and she went dashing up the stairs and asked him to stand between her and her partner, and he took her side and I took his, and later, after having asked him such a thing, then she turned on him, and she and he were nose to nose, glaring fury, and I meanwhile hoping it wouldn't turn into a fist fight. But looking back from a distance, it was just a lot of hormones, a group of grown-ups acting a little like teenagers for a time, who really ought to have known better, until at last it all sorted itself out again. And I wondered how we could all have been so silly. I guess we were making up for lost time, going a little crazy for a spell, for a little while. Which perhaps explains why I thought at the time that she was some sort of goddess. 2/3 god and 1/3 woman they made her, to misquote the epic. A divinity of the ancient sort, likely to devour her young, level a city, or at least her partner. And that made her rather dangerous. A teenage crush kind of a way to express it perhaps, but not without some truth. And, having initiated a great change, transformed everything about her, the house, its order, even our social life, and certainly my whole outlook, with the words, "I do people good," which at first we were foolish, guarded and wary enough to view as a threat. She left. It was the end of a period which was always going to be too short to us, to me. She moved out of the house for the last time with the words, "I've left some stuff in the attic. I'll be back for it." When she finally returned to New Zealand, she always intended to return at times to the city. 1 year she did, pregnant with the second child, and of that time spent every weekend with us, making yet more memories. She asked, "You want to come to the boot sale?" With such verve and sparkle, it sounded more like an invitation to a party at a beach bar. On going, she chose things to give me from the attic, and being stylish and very cool, the things made fine presents. Large linen rose petals in the richest colours, some of the most beautiful thread I had ever seen, an abalone shell, the same laundry basket which the baby had ridden in, looking like a fairy child. And then she was gone. Time passed. Denizens came and went. Eventually, and much later, when the house was being packed up to sell, we spoke over the phone, and she admitted that the friend whom she had thought would collect all her gear was no longer in the frame, nor would she herself return. Take what you want, find homes for the rest. She had let go of it, and so it fell to our lot to find out that in fact she had left a life up there. Her whole life in England, stock for her small business and all.